Thanks, guys, for attending tonight. I'm going to pass this off to Amy here in just 1 second. This is our first cocktail night, and it seems to be pretty exciting. It smells really good yesterday and today. So Amy is going to lead us tonight. This is her idea. She is an executive bourbon steward as well, so there's a lot of experience and everything that goes along with that here. So I'll turn the floor over to Amy, and we'll get going.
Awesome. Thanks, Troy. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it. And I hope tonight is something fun that we can maybe repeat again later. Both of the cocktails tonight are very simple. And I wanted to start out with simple cocktails simply because this was our first go around with this. And I didn't want something so complicated that people are like having to purchase 9,510 different things for a cocktail. It didn't make any sense to do it that way. So we went simple. I'm not sure if you've ever had a smash cocktail before, but they're very simple to make. The mint julep is considered a smash. If you're looking for cocktail books or something like that, I've got two that are really good. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. The first one is Imbibe. It's by, there we go, David Wondrich. It's fantastic. It talks about the history of American cocktails. So if you're really looking for something really old to make, this is a great book. And then I don't know if you've ever been to New York City and gone to Death and Company, the bar, but they have an amazing cocktail book, and it's humongous, like humongous. It's like a Bible. It's really like the biggest book I could possibly buy. But I've come up with a couple cocktails out of there simply because they're Death and Company have very complicated cocktails, and a lot of the things they make on their own there. I don't have the patience for that, so I kind of modify everything that I make. So we're going to get started first with the old fashioned. Hopefully you've maybe have already poured it into your glass, but if you haven't, I'm going to do it. I'll demonstrate. So I'm going to just simply use my cocktail strainer and strain it right into my glass instead of into another glass and then into my glass. You are welcome to strain it into a glass if you want. But me, I prefer just to strain it directly in and then leave the fruit in for a little bit longer. Or if I drink the whole thing, then, well, the fruit's kind of a no-brainer. So I'm going to strain it in. So here's my glass. I'm going to strain it in. You're supposed to get 3 out of this because it's a 3-ounce cocktail. A traditional old-fashioned is. And like I said earlier, make sure you have napkins because I just spilled all over the place. But this one should have a ton of flavor in it, depending on the type of whiskey you used. And most of all of you did high proof whiskeys as well. But the fruit should shine through, but not overpower the whiskey. And the turbinado sugar has actually a little bit of molasses in it. So it'll kind of clean up that cocktail a little bit and it won't be so tart. So I don't know what your flavors are because each of you have a different whiskey. So you'll have to tell us what your whiskey tastes like within your cocktail. And I'll start. I used a Maker's Mark cask strength. I've had this crazy bottle on my liquor shelf forever. And I'm like, I don't want this thing, but I'm going to use it for this. I've never used a wheated whiskey in my old fashioned simply because I think they're a little soft. So I don't know how it's going to hold up. You can obviously garnish your old fashioned any which way you want. If you like a cherry, throw it in there. If you want to use a little bit of your orange peel, throw it in there. Whichever you choose. I just drink them. I'm a no frills kind of gal, so I just drink it. I strain it and I drink it. Sometimes I'll throw a cherry in there if I'm feeling like it, but it really doesn't add anything other than having a cherry in your cup. So I'm going to try mine and I'll tell you my tasting notes. Kind of just as I thought. The wheated whiskey is very, very soft, but you get the complex flavors of the oranges and the cherries. The apricot doesn't really shine through, and I think that's because the whiskey is really soft. But tell me what you think about yours. Tell me what flavors you're picking up within your cocktails after you've poured them and have taken a sip. I'll mute myself and you can each unmute yourselves one at a time and tell me what you think. first introduce the whiskey that you used, and then tell us the flavors that you're picking up from your old-fashioned cocktail. And I don't know if it would be easier if I just called on you. So we'll go from there. So I see Adam taking a sip. So Adam, tell us about your cocktail.
So kind of went out of necessity. So I did a Makers. I did one of the OHLQ ones. Which one is this one? This is Honey Crisp Blossom. So definitely a little bit soft. Catch a lot of the orange out of the mix. And like I'm picking up a lot of the cinnamon on the finish, like kind of on the lips and just kind of at the last taste. So yeah, I'm impressed.
Did you put the cinnamon stick in there?
We did one day and then I took it out yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah. This is the first time that we're trying like the cinnamon bitters too. So I think
Yeah. It adds a nice touch, doesn't it? It's not overpowering, but it does add a nice touch. The smoked cinnamon bitters from Old Forester. I don't know if you can see them. They're fantastic. My husband and I get them all the time. All right. Carl and Larry, I see you guys sipping away. Tell us what you got.
Yeah, I used the Willet because kind of same thing for you. Felt like it was the only way I was gonna get through that bottle. So actually picking up a lot of cherry notes, little bit of almost rye coming through, which seems kind of weird, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. I did not use the cherry. I mean the cinnamon stick in the mix, but as a garnish. So
Did it improve the Willet pot still?
I'm able to drink it. So yeah,
That's a good plus.
it's not very proofy, but it's good.
Yeah.
I used the Knob Creek single barrel, the 120 proof one. Mine definitely hits a lot harder than his does. I did cinnamon stick for probably maybe a day and a half. Took it out last night. Pretty heavy cinnamon, but I like that. So it's really good.
Awesome. Did it change your Knob Creek can be pretty bold. Did it lighten the Knob Creek any, or is the Knob Creek still shining through?
It's still shining through pretty good.
Yeah. Knob Creek is the first whiskey that I use to make these, and Knob Creek rye is still my favorite to use within the mason jar old fashions because it's just a really bold and nice drinker. So awesome. Corey, what you got?
So I went with a Redemption barrel proof 10-year, which is typically kind of a sweet brown sugar, dilly spice, smoky cocoa kind of play, which is kind of adding a kind of a smoky vibe to the cinnamon and to the orange slices and stuff.
Did you add the cinnamon stick or no?
Just now, because I forgot about it.
No worries.
For a minute and a half.
Let's see. Someone says iPhone. I don't know who that is. Who's the iPhone people?
That might be me. I'm not sure. I'm on my iPhone.
Oh, hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm okay. So I don't like taste all those flavors, you know. I just bourbon, it's like if I like it or I don't like it. But I taste the cinnamon and a little bit of the citrus. And my bourbon, since you said 110, I went looking in my cupboard and it's a Russell's Reserve.
Oh, nice.
Single barrel. It was a private barrel from when I was in Kentucky, working in Kentucky. So that's what I used. So it's pretty good. And it's not as, it's easier to drink than it is like when I tried it like straight. So,
Sure. Awesome. Well, I'm glad it changed it for you, so it's more drinkable for you.
Yes, yeah.
Awesome. Hey, James, what are you drinking tonight?
Okay, I mixed mine with the barrel bourbon single barrel from Liquor Barn. It's a 14-year-old, 111 proof. I left my cinnamon stick in for one day. I took it out after that, but I still get quite a bit of the cinnamon on the nose, and a little bit on my palate. But the orange is real strong.
Yeah.
What comes through the most, I think.
Do you like that or not?
I don't dislike it.
Yeah.
It just overpowers some of the, like, I don't get any of the cherry at all.
Gotcha. It might be a product of the whiskey that you use. What whiskey did you use?
It's the barrel bourbon. It's that, it's 111 proof, 14-year-old barrel pick. I was looking for something high proof that I already had in the house.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks. Jeremiah, what did you pour?
Well, we've made two different ones, but the only one we poured yet was with the Starlight straight rye whiskey, 5-year, 113.4 proof. So
Nice.
And I'm obviously, we put the cinnamon stick in for a day, so I'm definitely getting cinnamon. It's very syrupy from the sugar, very, very nice and thick. But with this rye, I'm definitely getting the apricot on the finish and then the rye spices at the very end.
Nice. That sounds really good, actually. So, and you had a second one, but you haven't opened it yet, right?
Yeah, that one was a rare breed rye.
Ooh. That's just good on its own. That's a good pour on its own. So that's awesome.
Not bad for rye anyway.
Right? So John, what are you drinking tonight? And who's your sidekick?
So my sidekick is my buddy Jim from next door. If it gets loud, it's my wife and all the girls. Her friend, they've got poker night upstairs. So, we are doing Old Granddad 114 in here.
Nice.
And we both think it's really citrusy. I mean, but you got the sugar sweet also, but it,
Sweet.
yeah.
Very sweet.
You like it or no?
I definitely like it. I think I maybe would have garnished it maybe with the cherry instead of the orange. We did the orange peel garnish.
Gotcha.
But it's
Awesome.
actually really delicious. And I did the cinnamon stick for only about a half a day. I didn't want it to take over. So you can always add more, I guess, right?
You can't take it out.
Maybe in a taller glass with more ice too, like a mint julep almost. It's pretty sweet, pretty syrupy.
Yeah.
It's
Nikki,
good.
what did you use? And you're on mute, by the way.
Sorry. So I use the Old Hammer single barrel. It's 117 proof. And again, it's really sweet. I was really surprised at the amount of sugar in there. I actually mixed mine up on Tuesday and I didn't think the sugar was ever going to go away.
Yeah.
But it's really good though. And I definitely get a lot of the cherry in it. You know, you get the citrus, but I can definitely get the cherry. I put the cinnamon sticks in for 2 days and I can just barely taste it. So I must have not a sensitive palate. But like I said, I like cinnamon too. So yeah.
Well, it might depend on the whiskey that you use too, whether it picked up the cinnamon or not. So yeah. Okay, Troy, tell me what all four of you are drinking. Troy, you're on mute. What are you guys drinking?
Okay, so we were waiting for you to call our names, but while we were talking about, because you know Jessica and Alex are here and they did theirs one way and we did ours another way. We did so I did a Nulu rye, which I think was like 120 something, so it's kind of higher proof too. I think that falls in the, well, I know it's MGP, but I think it's like one of their earlier ones, so it's like the good rye. I did not use the bitters you sent. I used Woodford's spiced cherry bitters. It's just been like my thing. I think that, yeah, like I use those. I was going to use the orange ones, but I felt like the orange was going to be a little overpowering. And the reason why I'm glad I didn't, because like I got the same thing that somebody else just said with the orange. It's very citrusy at the end. But while you guys were talking, we were like kind of comparing ours to like Jessica and Alex's. The ice obviously like changes it a little bit too. But stuff that I get out of it, and I did use the cinnamon stick. I do get cinnamon, I do get orange. I get a little bit of finish with the cherries that were either in there or the bitters that I added. But I think it's good. We were just talking about too, like I'm not an old fashioned fan. I honestly, I've never had a good old fashioned, but if I had to like say, pick one that I liked, I think this one turned out, it's probably my favorite. Just because it's like light, refreshing, and it's got everything you could want. It's crazy to think that all we did was add whiskey though. Like at first I was like, wow, that's a lot of booze. Like, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but it's really good. Do you want to talk about yours?
Sure.
Since they're labeled puppies. So Alex and I did ours with actually the Elijah Craig barrel proof, which it does like give it a little more heat. It's not a super high proof one, but it's reads very hot, but it goes, I feel like with that, I get more orange than cherry, probably because from the dried orange, depending upon like what you use. But I like old fashions. I know that they're a pretty boozy cocktail, but I like that usually like when I make my own, it does take a lot longer. So I like that this is kind of like an easy, you throw it all in a jar and let it, just sit for a few days, and then you can, do that. And I feel like that would be a kind of a good thing for when, like if you were having people over, to just throw jars in there to do like old fashions.
Yeah.
I like the dried fruit.
Yeah. So I'll show you the dried fruit that I bought for these. So in case you want to purchase them on your own, you're welcome to. They're all on Amazon. I did Blue Henry orange slices. They're in a box that's like brown and orange, but they come like this in a bag on the inside. So it has Blue Henry on the bag. And then the apricots come in this funky bag, and it just says dried apricots. But they're on Amazon. You can't miss them. There's not very many varieties of them at all. And then actually the dried cherries you can buy at Meijer. Mm-hmm. Make sure they're the dried Montmorency cherries, because they don't have the sulfur in them. If you get sulfur dried cherries, it makes the drink taste funky.
Okay.
And I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
For the bitters, I'm sorry?
Could you post pictures of those in the chat for this?
I will. Yeah, I'll do it at the end. And then for the bitters, I also have orange bitters from Woodford, which are amazing, but I did not put those in there. There's the spiced cherry and Woodford bitters. Mm-hmm. Don't know if I can get that on there. And then the Old Forester smoked cinnamon bitters.
So the bitters that you sent, were those the spiced cherry?
Yeah, they had spiced cherry and smoked cinnamon in them.
Okay, so I'm not complaining, but I didn't know that. So I thought I was onto something.
Read your directions.
No, so when I got my bitters, they were like the little plastic thing burst. So like I couldn't use them. So I was like, I'll just use spiced cherry.
Sorry.
So I was like onto something special here. That's like,
yeah, sorry. No, so it sounds like we all have a different experience, because we all have a different whiskey, which is awesome. You should make a cocktail using your favorite whiskeys. If you're using a whiskey that you're not a fan of, you're probably not going to like your cocktail either. For this makers that I use, it's cask strength. It's only 109. It's not my favorite, and I'm not a fan of it. It made this cocktail too soft for me. Generally I like something more that around 110 or higher, but I used what it kind of said. You know what? I'm going to give this a try tonight. I will say we did scale up this recipe at New Year's. We made a whole bottle of Wilderness Trail cask strength rye, and we used a humongous mason jar to make it, and we just scaled up all the ingredients. It had to sit longer though. If you're going to make it bigger, you have to make it earlier, so it actually takes time to mature there. But yeah, you can make this into a punch if you really wanted to, if you're serving the masses. Nikki, you indicated that you have one of those little barrels.
Yeah.
That you could barrel age.
Yeah. It's not very big. It's cute. I put the recipe in the Facebook messenger chat. It's just 3 cups of whatever whiskey you want, a 1/4 cup of whatever simple syrup you use. I like to make simple syrups, so I did a maple cinnamon in one, and then I did a cherry chipotle in another with some chocolate bitters. Turned out really good. It ages for about 3-4 weeks, and I kind of turn the barrel, but this is what's left of the cherry chipotle, not much. And the maple cinnamon is probably my favorite. It's just the cinnamon shines through, the maple shines through, and it's just really easy to do. And I can get about 2 bottles after it's aged, because you're going to lose a portion, the angel share and such. But it's so stinking simple to do.
Mm-hmm. Does the oak pull through from the barrel?
Yeah, a little bit, definitely, especially on the first batch I did, the cherry chipotle. I still have some in the maple cinnamon. Now I've probably messed it up because I've put that Buffalo Trace White Dog in there just to see what happened. But
did you clean it out at all between your? No, not at all. So did your second batch pick up flavors from the first batch that you put in there?
Not really. Just because the flavors of the maple cinnamon were so different from the cherry chipotle.
Yeah, I didn't know if it would soak into the wood and change
it probably
the flavor.
would a little bit.
Yeah.
I know it's definitely sweeter after it's been in the barrel than what it was going in.
Yeah.
So
I got one of those barrels for Christmas, and it's a little bigger than I think what yours is. I know it said it holds 1 liter.
Okay.
So that'll be nice. But come on over, Alex. I have a whole liter I can fill up. But anyway, but I haven't figured out what I want to put in it. I haven't used it yet. You said you soaked yours. How long did you soak it, and what did you do with it?
So you just soak it in water, and typically on our larger barrels, we soak them for about a week. And then if you have some beeswax or paraffin wax, rub that on the outside, and that helps keep it from leaking even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, give it about a week to soak.
Awesome. That's awesome. Awesome. Hey, Aaron, I see that you just joined us. How are you?
I'm good. I'm sorry. I kind of forgot about it, and we just got done putting in a pool liner for my pool. I had to replace my pool liner today, so that's been an adventure since 8 o'clock this morning. So, but glad to finally be here. Sorry, I'm late.
No problem. Have you poured your old fashioned yet? We all have.
Not yet. I literally just we just got done, but I will go in and pour it here in just a moment.
Awesome. Well, when you pour it, let us know what your flavors are and what whiskey you choose.
I will certainly do that. Give me just about 5 minutes.
No problem. Nikki, when you soaked your barrel, did you fully submerge it, or did you just fill the barrel with water to soak it? What did you do?
You fill it with water.
Okay, you fill it. Okay.
Yeah, and if you do warm, it kind of expands it a little faster.
Okay.
Warm water.
You don't want to use hot water, I would assume.
No, just warm tap water.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing how you used your barrel. Because like I said, I've been sitting on one since Christmas, and I'm like, I have no clue what I'm going to do with this, how I'm going to use it or anything. So I'll give that a try. Thank you.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Do you think I can save one that I think I let it dry out?
Yeah, just re-soak it.
Okay, good. I have one, and I did it once, and now we moved, and I'm not even sure where it is right now, but I know the last time I saw it, things were looking a little loose.
Yeah, if you soak it, that wood will expand, and those rungs on the barrel will tighten back up.
Oh, good. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So now that all of you have had yours in the glass for a little bit, how is your flavors changing? Have they changed at all since you first poured it and first started drinking it? Because mine has changed a tiny bit, not a lot.
Sweet.
I think now that
Mine's
it's
gone.
taking over a little bit more and some of the flavors are starting to fade.
Yeah, it's watering down a little bit. It's not as strong.
Yeah.
So still good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Turn that back on.
Troy, what's your party thinking about your old fashions now that they've had time to sit in the glass?
What's my party thinking?
They're good.
Yeah.
They're just very
Going down smooth.
sippable. They're probably have downed mine a
Are
little
these
bit.
best serving glasses?
There's
Yeah, I'm
so
like, I don't know
mine
how you're gonna get
like
down
this
there.
one, the one that we made.
I had to
We were
process
just
it up
talking.
here
It
before
now
doing
has
it.
like a butterscotch finish.
Yeah.
Like it's more buttery, like
On the palate.
more. I gotta be careful about the words I use when I say because it feels weird. But like it feels like slicker.
Feels weird in my mouth.
Yeah, but I don't know what theirs tastes like. So, but I mean, it has changed because initially it was very like cold and typical. You can taste like the cherry bitters and everything else. But now it's very bakey. You know what I mean? Like
more thick, like thicker.
butterscotch, caramel, stuff like that. Yeah.
Awesome. More like candy. Yeah. Yeah. Who had two? I forget. Jeremiah, did you open your second one yet?
Not yet. We're still working on the first one. 9 ounces is a little bit to get through.
Well, you don't have to drink the whole thing. My gosh.
I covered it all.
That's dedication. That is a whole lot of dedication. So the next cocktail we're going to make is a smash. And a smash cocktail it is just literally simply adding fruit in the bottom of a glass, adding a sugar syrup, and then using a drink muddler and muddling it to break down the fruit. It's simple. It's one of the earliest cocktails that actually came out. It's very flavor forward. You kind of lose some of the whiskey unless you use a high proof. One of the most famous smashes is the mint julep. They're muddling an herb with sugar syrup. So you can do a whole lot of different kind of smashes. I've seen blueberry, I've seen, all kinds of fruit smashes. The chai simple syrup that I made for all of you is very, very simple. You all have the drink recipe, if you will. I would shake your bottle before you actually make your cocktails, just to make sure that it's all still incorporated. It's not separated in any way, shape, or form, but it is very good. In fact, I have a whole big bottle of this in my fridge. It is really good in coffee, believe it or not. With just a little bit of milk in it, it kind of tastes like a latte in a way, if you are a coffee drinker. I don't add much, maybe a teaspoon, because it will overpower. But yeah, so we're going to shift gears a bit and start making our second cocktail, and we'll talk about it as we make it. So I'm going to step out of the camera real quickly and go get my second glass that has ice in it. So if you guys have all of your things ready, we can make them together, or if you've already made them, we'll just drink on them. Hold on one second.
You remove it before we muddle it? Or?
So we didn't make ours, but we're gonna make ours now. Is that okay?
Yeah, make them together. It's fine. Yeah, I'm making them. You guys can make them however you want. So I chilled my glass because I thought that would actually keep it colder for longer. And so the ice that I had, I'm going to just reuse. So the first thing that you're going to do to make this cocktail is take your orange, which I did pre-wash them all for you. So you don't have to worry about any gross wax or pesticides or anything like that getting into your cocktail. And if you're sitting with someone, don't stab them, please. But anyway, you're going to cut your orange into a slice. Take a slice of your orange, maybe quarter to a half an inch, depending on how much citrus you want in your drink. If you don't like a lot of citrus, don't make your slice very wide. And I'll show you what I'm gonna do. So I'm cutting my orange now. I'm cutting the end, and then I'm cutting just past the end one slice. And so this is how thick my slice is. And I can't cut straight to save my life, so that's what I have. Then I'm gonna cut that slice in half, because you don't want to use a whole slice of orange in this thing, because wow, it will overpower this cocktail. So use a half of your slice and put it in the bottom of your glass. Then take your simple syrup. Like I said, shake it before you use it and pour 1 ounce of it into your glass. And if you like a little bit more spice, add a little bit more. If you like a little less, you can add less. That's completely your call.
Amy, is that about half of it?
Yes, it is 1/2. This is a 2 ounce jar, if you will.
The chai tea syrup smells amazing.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
You ought to smell my house as I was making the syrup.
Mhm.
My whole house smelled like I was making chai tea in here. So it was pretty incredible.
Nice.
So now you're gonna have your, I'm gonna just shut off this stupid filter thing. Hold on 1 second here. There we go. Stop. None. Well, I was supposed to shut off this stupid filter
I have a
thing.
question.
Yeah.
I might have missed this part. The whole thing doesn't go in there, right?
No, 1 ounce of it. So there is 2 ounces in that jar. So you'll use half per cocktail. So if you're making 2 cocktails, you'll use the whole jar. And I gave you all enough to make 2 cocktails. Okay, so now this thing is off. Now you can actually see my glass. So now I have the orange and the syrup in the bottom of the glass. And I'm going to take my muddler, which is this thing. If you don't have one, you can use the business end or the handle end of a spatula, and it works wonders, and you just pound it. So I'm going to take mine and I'm going to put it in there, and I'm just going to squeeze it. And mine has teeth on the bottom. I don't know if any of you have teeth on the bottom of your muddlers, but mine will actually break down the orange a little bit. So you want to break down that orange because it will release some of the orange oil from the rind of the orange, but also break down some of the fruit, and it really will flavor. And once you stick your nose in your glass, you will absolutely smell what this tastes like. Was Alex giving a back massage while you're doing your work, Troy?
He was trying to reenact a scene from Ghost.
Wow, that's special. That's really, really special. Okay, so mine is really broken down. Tell me when you guys are ready to move to the next step. You can break it down as much as you want or as little as you want. I like mine almost mutilated. And like I said, my muddler has teeth on the bottom, so it does quick work. All right, we ready to go? So now each of you have two 2-ounce bottles of Wild Turkey 101, one for each of your cocktails that you're making. Pour it into your cup. And stir. And if you have a cocktail spoon, these things are amazing because then you can twist them, and it actually does a really good job of twisting and moving all of your things on the inside here. Next, add your ice. And then you will stir again. Because you'll want to make sure that your ice and your cocktail are well incorporated. And it's not just all of the flavor is concentrated in one. So like this.
I just had my husband take a sample of mine and he walked away with the glass, so I have to make another one.
So I will say this, as I was making sure that I had this cocktail perfect, I've been experimenting on my husband, and he insists that I make them every day now. So they're good. They're good. And he doesn't like cocktails. He thinks cocktails are for people that can't drink straight whiskey. He's now been converted. So now that I have the whiskey, the simple syrup, my ice, and the orange all together, you top it with a little bit of the ginger beer. And you don't use much of that ginger beer because you don't have much in your glass unless you don't have much ice in your glass. Basically, you just want to use some ginger beer to make it a little fizzy, to lighten up that cocktail, because if you drank that right now, it would blow your socks off.
Yeah, I use too much.
You what?
I use way too much, so yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to just top mine off, and I'll show you what I'm doing here. Just top it off. Not a whole lot, just to add some fizz, and then re-stir. And it should lighten it up, lighten up the color. And it should be like, kind of look like a Moscow Mule, only a little bit darker, less fizzy than a Moscow Mule. It'll be bold in flavor. You do have cinnamon sticks if you want to garnish with it. I don't, simply because there's already an orange in there. And I think that adds enough flavor. Some people like that orange in there, or like that cinnamon in there. That's just not my jam. But you are welcome to add that cinnamon stick. It will add a punch of cinnamon over and above what that chai syrup already gives you. So tell me when you all are ready. And tell me what you think.
Finger looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The chai comes through, doesn't it? And so does the orange.
That is good.
Very yummy.
Yeah.
I think we'll hold off on the cinnamon stick. We tried without first because you can always add, and we're good.
Yeah.
That's delicious.
Yeah. It's so simple to make. And you can make this in a huge batch too. If you're entertaining, you could seriously scale this thing up and make it into a punch, put it in a big pitcher and just serve it over ice if you're entertaining. It's fantastic. It's not hard. You can make this simple syrup
I'll let
in 5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
I'll let Brian
Yeah.
I'm gonna need both these recipes scaled up to fit in some tea pitcher.
Wow, that's fucking good.
You can absolutely do that. So if you're going to make a pitcher full, you're probably going to end up using a bottle of alcohol to fill up your pitcher.
Dude, this is really good. Really good.
You love it?
Oh,
You like it?
I was a little skeptical when we were muddling. I'm not a big muddler. I don't like stuff muddled in my drink. That's kind of the reason why, like, I've never really liked no, to the top. It's right. She did it right to the top.
That's
But surprisingly, it's super light. Like, that is not what I expected when I drank it. Like, it's great for the poolside. So
Yeah. Rob, my husband, who does not drink cocktails, like legit does not drink them, said this will cause him trouble because he'll drink them way too fast. Of course, we use Wild Turkey 101.
This is a good idea. You know, get some of those little barrels.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah, you could use a barrel. We've been making these now for quite a while, and they're just a great cocktail. But boy, they can bite you in the booty if you drink them too quickly, because you can't taste the alcohol in them, and that's what makes them dangerous. So the chai tea comes through, but it's not overly sweet. I will say this: I typically don't drink Kroger ginger beer. Quite frankly, I bought these to keep the cost down for our bags so we could donate more money to Honor Flight. But I like Q ginger beer. They're little teeny tiny cans, and it is, yeah, you guys too. Go ahead. You guys are off.
What chai tea did you use to make the syrup? Like what brand?
Stash.
Okay.
Let me go get the box. Hold 1 second.
See, I love the Kroger's ginger beer. I think that's one of the best ones you can get out there.
I think it's two. I think so.
There's no ginger in the Kroger ginger beer though. That's the only sad thing. There's
Yeah.
literally no ginger in it.
This is
Yeah.
what we typically use.
Yeah, I like,
Very
let me
good.
go get mine.
That's probably
But-
my second choice.
But I think the Kroger ginger beer is like perfect in the spicy part of like being ginger beer. But the ginger is kind of missing from it. But
This is what I like.
Okay.
It's better. It is fantastic. So this is the chai that I used. Is the double spice chai from Stash. Because I made such a huge batch, I used 8 tea bags. But if you're just making a 1 cup batch using 1 cup of water and a 1/2 cup sugar and a 1/2 cup of the dark brown sugar, you're going to want 2, maybe 3 tea bags. Otherwise, it's going to be way too chai. And it'll get bitter. Yeah, it's so simple to make, but you can make a ton of different kinds of simple syrups. I mean, they're so easy to make. You can make like a jalapeno simple syrup just simply by cutting up a jalapeno and sticking it in your simple syrup after you've cooked it, and the syrup is still warm.
I'll make a smoked simple syrup for something different.
Yeah, this is a cocktail you can smoke. So if you have one of
Okay.
those drink smokers,
Yep,
it's phenomenal. Rob and I have smoked these a couple times and they're really fantastic if you use hickory smoke. If you use a fruit wood smoke, it doesn't taste as well. Just a couple thoughts there. So
I just smoked the pan of simple syrup as I'm making it, so
yeah,
that works out really well.
yeah. How does that change? Does it come out very, very smoky?
It
I've not
does.
done that.
It's not super, I
it
mean,
does. Yeah,
it's got a nice smoky taste to it. You can see the smoke kind of in the syrup because it's cloudy and darker. But it's really good. It makes the best old fashions.
I'll have to try that. Get my smoker out this summer and try it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what all do you think
So-
about this? Do you like it? Would you bake this on your own?
Yep.
Yeah.
that's smoked simple syrup.
Is that like a gray color?
It's brown.
Okay. Did you use like brown sugar?
No, it was just regular white sugar and water, and it just that's what color it turned.
Really?
Yeah.
I've not tried that. I'll have to try that this year. That's awesome. How long did it take in your smoker to dissolve all the sugar and all of that good stuff?
I forget, it was either a half hour or an hour.
Yeah, it's smoky you want it.
You don't want it, I didn't try to do too much. It's just more to kind of get it all together. I think I actually used hickory for it too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a harder wood, so it would probably add
Yeah.
more smoke anyway.
It's a pellet grill, so it's not as smoky as real wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I threw a blend in mine, so it was like hickory, oak, and maybe some apple or something, or pecan. That
Yeah.
was good.
That's awesome.
Adam, are you smoking your cocktail right now?
We did, got a request, so we figured.
How was it?
We'll find
I'll
out.
tell you in just a moment.
Now, do you have one of the toppers, the smoker toppers?
We do, that smoke
Yeah.
top. We really like it. Like it's nice. The whole house doesn't smell, and
Yeah.
because we like just a little bit of smoke on it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's perfect.
Yeah. And we just had cherry wood, so.
Okay. Yeah. I have one of those domes, like a cloche that has the glass
Yeah.
dome over it. I like that, but I hate it at the same time. It's good if you're smoking a big batch of something, but for just a simple cocktail, it's just too much. So I've been thinking about getting one of those toppers and I wasn't sure.
They said, you let it go for a minute or two, and we're like 30 seconds is about all we let it go before we take it out. So.
Yeah.
I've taken my Booker's box and I drilled a hole in the back of it. That turned it into a smoker.
Yeah.
So it keeps the smoke down, but glass fits perfect in it.
Corey, can you share that? Because I would love to see what that looks like. Because we have 2 Booker's boxes and I've been trying to think about what to do with them.
Do you use a
It
smoke
just-
pen then? To fill?
Yeah. I got it right behind me. I'll grab it real quick.
Awesome. Because that would be really cool if we could see that.
Does your dome, hey Amy, does your dome thing have like mine has a little circular thing that's got, so you can just put it right over a certain cocktail, but you
Yeah.
only have to let it go for like 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah. Mine has where you can insert the tube from your smoker right into it. It does have a wood base to it. I don't know. It's great. But again, I think it's overkill sometimes because it is so big.
I've done the same thing that Corey did, but I used Little Book instead of Booker's, if that helps.
Okay.
I mean, you slide the drink in there. There's a hole in the back and you use a smoke gun. You just hold the plastic up till the smoke rolls out. I personally set it under my microwave hood.
Smart. So Corey, does that just fit a glass in there into your Booker's box?
Yes, perfect glass. All the round glasses will actually fit in perfectly. I have some square glasses and they kind of fit a little bit wonky, but the regular rock glasses fit in perfect.
Awesome.
And where's my?
So I'm catching up, but the old fashioned.
Corey's just setting the mood.
Yeah.
So Amy, back to your question about how the old fashioned was, what I thought, my notes. When I first poured it, it was very powerful and hit you right up front. It had that. I'm not sure what's it supposed to taste like? I don't think I've ever had a chai tea in my life.
So did you put the chai syrup in your?
No, I don't think I did. No, that's the smash. That's coming. I got to make that.
Okay,
What was
good.
the bitters that you put in it?
Oh,
What was
good.
Just
It was spiced cherry and smoked cinnamon.
oh yeah, and then that was the other thing. I left the cinnamon stick in for an extra day.
Ooh. Wow,
It
that's
didn't
weird.
over cinnamon. I was surprised.
Yeah.
And then I used a Blue Note store pick, 124.5 proof, I think.
Nice.
What-
Did it hold up well?
The first one was very sweet and very hit you up front because it was so alcohol forward, but also you could taste those cherries, the old fashioned mix, if you will, that you could really notice it. But then as it settled and let the ice kind of get a little in there and calm down, it was very good.
Awesome.
It smoothed out and wasn't overly sweet or anything. So
Cool.
Good.
Cool. Thanks. So back to Corey. Let me see your smoker because I think you're in action right now.
I just opened it. Sorry,
Nope, you're good.
I just finished a little bit of smoke. It's hard to see on here, but there is smoke in the house right now. So I just opened it back up.
Yeah.
So the only downside to it is it does fill up the whole entire box. So when you open it up, it fills up the whole entire room if you're not quick about it. But
Yeah.
I like it because I don't
Good
like
Lord,
the,
Jeremiah.
There we go. A little smoke there.
The big one just biting the other way.
Awesome.
So that the cocktail books that you have, can you put those titles within the chat or whatever?
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, like I have this book. It's called, I'm not at home, so I can't get it out, but it's pretty large too, and it has a bunch of cocktails, but they're very in depth and it takes time to do it. But we're always looking for, like a quick cocktail. Like this old fashioned now has changed to where like now the finish is like peanut butter, and I'm not a big fan of it, but that smash drink, man, Woo, that's good.
I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like it. It's a good one. And you can, like I said, you can change it up. And with the old fashioned, you can change that up as well. If you
You
don't
can
like as
still
much
put
sugar,
more
take
ice
some of
in
it
it.
out. If
We
you
put
don't
more
like,
light.
if you don't like a lot of the orange, take it out. I mean, you can tailor it to what you like in your palate, because everybody's palates are so different. It's hard to, make something for everyone. So when you're making the old fashioned at home, you can easily make it to your preference. If you want to leave out the sugar, go for it. But I will tell you this, it's going to be a whack in the face of alcohol. You do want a little bit of sugar in it because it will cut that alcohol a little bit back a little bit. But with the smashes, just play with them. It is so easy. And like I said, you can make syrup however which way you want. Nikki talked about 2 of hers. She did a maple cinnamon. So now I want to make that and see how that tastes. And granted, now I want to put that also in my coffee. So Nikki, how much maple syrup did you put in it and how much cinnamon did you put in it?
I used cinnamon sticks. So I'd have to go back and look at my notes because it's been a while.
Mhm.
But everybody says it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Well, look, my husband's handing me an empty glass and wants more.
Well, yeah.
I'm glad he likes it. I just took a sip of my old fashioned and this Makers is not a good one to use. The cask strength, it doesn't hold up well. It is not my favorite. Now, granted, I'll probably drink it because I don't believe in wasting anything, but it's totally not my favorite thing that I've made. Like I said, I love Wilderness Trail Rye. Knob Creek Rye is one of my favorites. Something much more powerful, higher proof stands up better. This 109 proof of Maker's Mark, it's not my jam. I can honestly say that, but Wild Turkey 101 makes a good cocktail in my book. That's a good just baseline cocktail making. Even old Granddad Bonded is a great one.
I agree.
That's probably my second favorite to use. When I was in college, we would buy old Granddad because you could get a bottle of it for $5.99. Granted, that was also 1990 something. So way back in the dark ages, but it was easy to drink back then. So making cocktails, you don't want to use your most expensive things on your shelf, especially if you're making a smash or something like that, because you're going to lose that whiskey in the background anyway. But you want to use a whiskey that has enough punch in it. You don't want to use like an 80 proofer. Like if you just took a bottle of Jack Daniels off the shelf and made a cocktail out of it, it's not going to taste that great because you're going to lose the Jack Daniels in the background somewhere. It's not powerful. It's 80 something proof now. Back in the 90s, it was a little higher and it was really good, but now it's not so great. But anyhow, so those were our 2 cocktails. If we did this again, what would you recommend we try? What are your favorite cocktails if you went into a restaurant or a bar?
An
A
antique.
coffee. A
Well,
coffee.
man, too.
Oh,
I'd say some sort of a sour. I mean, I'm a huge anything high lemon type thing. So
With or without egg?
With, of course.
I've never had it with, but either way, I'd be fine.
It's gotta be
When-
it's summertime, so you're gonna have to think, refreshing drinks, right?
See?
Yeah, you got something other than my high proof or straight. So
Yeah.
Lemonade or something.
Yeah,
My favorite
was
is
thinking-
mule, so.
a mule's
Okay,
easy.
Yeah,
to make.
I'm not.
mules, Sazerac.
I like a Kentucky mule.
I'll second a mule as well.
Yeah, those are so easy and a highball is always an easy thing to make. I mean, it's just pouring the 2 together and maybe a little lemon or lime. It's always a good thing to make. If I'm out at a restaurant, I always want to see if they're making something that I've never had before. If they're blending 2 different whiskeys together, I want to try it and see what it's like, because there's a restaurant here in Springfield called the Ridgewood. And if you walked into it, it looks like a steampunk kind of place. It's really cool. They have a cocktail called the Kentucky Sunflower. And it doesn't sound like something I'd want to drink because it has Makers and Hennessy in it. It's odd. It is incredibly odd. And I'm like, I don't think I'm going to like this. It's actually freaking amazing. It just totally blew my socks off. I was surprised that I liked it. But they have really good cocktails at that bar. If you're ever in Springfield, try the Ridgewood. Yeah. What other things can we make?
A lot of
Ridgewood. I've never heard of it.
Fee Brothers, the black walnut bitters.
I
So
have those.
it is made like a huge difference in our old fashions. It just takes away the sweetness and just makes it much more like earthy and yeah.
Yeah. You know, I really like black walnut. So nuts. I'll go get it. Hold on 1 minute.
Has anybody ever made their own bitters? That would be cool to do.
I've been wanting to do that for a while, and I plan to. So
My wife's got
about 3 years into my marriage, I made my own bitter.
Wow.
Ouch.
Not sure that's the kind you can drink though, is it, Tori?
Depends on how liquored up she gets.
Wow. So I really like Watershed's Nocino. It's barrel aged and it is incredible in cocktails. Incredible. I know we had Watershed host us a couple months ago, but their Nocino is probably my favorite thing they make.
Actually, you know, not trying to like plug anything, but the new coffee drink that's on the current menu at Century has the Watershed Nocino in it. So, but anyways, I just thought I'd throw that out there. Like it's good stuff.
What do you make one home?
Yeah, I think Nocino, because it's like it's walnut bitter, like it's that powerful walnut flavor. It's so good if you have a really high proof whiskey with it. If you use a low proof, all you're going to get is Nocino. It tastes awful. But yeah. So how are you enjoying your drinks? Are they still good now that they've sat for a minute and we've talked?
Mine added some smoke to it. Definitely added a little bit different to this mash.
Good different or bad different?
She actually likes it better with the smoke in it. I'm indifferent. It's different. It's so sweet, and then all of a sudden you add the smoke into it.
Yeah.
So one thing I do, like during the fall and winter time, it's very similar to what you do, but instead of chai tea, I end up adding apple simple syrup to make kind of like a fall cocktail, and I'll rim the glass with cinnamon, or actually add cinnamon into, instead of a cinnamon stick, actually add cinnamon to it.
Yeah.
But very similar cocktail, one for more of a summertime, springtime, one for fall time.
So we kind of made a drink out of necessity. We were maybe day drinking during the fall last year, and we were drinking old fashions with egg. Ran out of all of our lime juice, ran out of all of our lemon juice, and actually our cinnamon or simple syrup. So we made some brown sugar, cinnamon or simple syrup, and then we had some apple cider, and so we started making old fashions with that for the fall. Awesome.
We may or may not have killed an entire bottle of bourbon, but there's that.
Well,
an apple simple or an apple old fashioned, and it's so good.
So you can take your jar and cut up an apple in it, put in whatever whiskey you want, a cinnamon stick and some clove, and maybe a tablespoon of sugar. Pop it in your fridge. It is incredible. It's kind of like an apple cider on crack. It is amazing.
Have
I
you
highly
tried
Bacon,
recommend
you can
it.
put bacon in it.
it?
So we do a coffee drink that I do, or I may or may not drink during work, but we do a coffee drink that we ran out of the correct creamer to use. So you use like Buffalo Trace, like bourbon cream, just a little bit, but you also use like whatever creamer you normally would, like heavy cream. But we ran out, and she had a seasonal
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch,
Coffee creamer.
and it changed the game for that drink
was
completely. To
awesome.
where, like, if it wasn't so expensive to make a large batch, we would probably make a large batch for when people came over all the time in the colder, not the cooler months, but you know what I mean? Like, it was just, it was right. But coffee drinks over the past 6 months have been just like our niche, and we're not big cocktail. I mean, our cocktail game is very basic. So
Yeah.
Troy, we need a files section in the group so we can all start posting recipes.
that's a good
We
idea.
should. That's a really good idea. You know, if something's too sweet for you, scale back on the simple syrup. It's such an easy thing to do. Again, cocktails are to your liking, especially when you're making them at home. You're kind of at the mercy of the bar when you're at a bar, but if you're making them at home, make them to your liking. Just because there's a recipe in front of you doesn't mean you have to follow it. I don't ever follow a recipe. I just kind of wing it most of the time.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, we do the weekly discussion. We could do a weekly cocktail recipe as well. Everybody try it on their own and post your notes.
I am running out of weekly discussion ideas, so we don't have 67 cocktails to post. Nobody got that joke.
I have a cocktail book, but I write down everything that I make. Like, I'm a huge experimenter of cocktails, and I have this crazy little notebook that it literally says things I was told by the voices in my head, and it's filled with cocktails. So we can start there and see where it lands us. But yeah.
How often do you change between different sugars, like the Demerara sugars, cane sugar, brown Demerara sugar? You know, I play around with the brown sugar, which a lot of people say never to do in old fashions, but you have to really be specific on the type of whiskey that you're putting in there at that point.
Yeah, you do. You do. And for me, I like turbinado sugar a lot because it's a little bit bigger grain. You don't have to use as much. Brown sugar, you really do, like you said, have to be careful with it because it has molasses in it. And it can really change a cocktail to make it so incredibly sweet that you're just like, oh, that's just too much. In fact, the first time I made chai syrup, it said 1 cup of brown sugar to 1 cup of water. And when I made it, I'm like, oh, sweet mother of God, this is too sweet. So I cut it and use regular granulated sugar with brown sugar, and it made it better. It's much more palatable to me. You know, even Demerara syrup, you have to be careful too. I mean, every kind of sugar you have, it's been processed in some way, shape, or form, and it does change the drink. Sometimes good, sometimes it just blows your socks off because it's too sweet.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's to your liking though too. If you really like a sweet cocktail, brown sugar is your jam, probably. Me, it's too much.
So when I lived in New Zealand, I got hooked on this natural dark brown molasses cane sugar. I actually ordered in a case of it. And yeah, it's great in barbecue sauce, but I'm really tempted to do a simple syrup with it just to see how it tastes.
You might want to cut it if it's really thick.
Absolutely.
Nikki, where's Jason tonight?
He's in the other room.
I figured he was like either off camera, just in there stewing, or somewhere else in the house.
I keep handing him the drinks I make. So like I lost all the orange chai bourbon smash. He drank most of that. But it's been a tough day today. We had to put our dog down, and then my son's best friend was killed in a car accident last night. So it's really good that we're drinking tonight because I need it.
I'd say
make another one.
Come over here.
Well,
hold on. He heard his name. He's coming over.
I'd say they were fine drinks, but I've had to add bourbon to all of them. But now they're a lot less sweet.
In one of those days.
Bad days, that all you want.
Oh, I just lost another drink. Oh,
I just drink straight bourbon, my friend.
Oh, no,
that'll be, oh, you won't drink this one.
not
Okay.
that one.
That's the old fashioned.
Not that one.
It's funny.
I'll make the other one.
On a separate note, is there a possibility that we can somehow get like a group wide, like Google Sheets or something with different cocktail recipes that everybody can contribute to or something? Because I'd love to see something like that and go through and pick and choose and try a few or something like that.
Maybe, yeah. I don't see why it would be a problem. Let Troy and I talk and figure out how we can make that happen for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if we can do something like that, I'd be much appreciated, at least for me, because I'm not very creative on my own. And
Yeah.
research leads to a bunch of stuff that I generally don't like. So
What was that suggestion?
some sort of like a Google Sheets or something like that that has, group list of cocktails that we can make and enjoy versus just going and buying. Most of the time I end up just buying store-bought shit and trying to mix that way, and it doesn't lead well.
That files section, Troy, would do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of using Google though too as well. We can figure something out. Amy's smart. She'll figure it out. And we can get together and we can brainstorm or whatever to be able to like put that together so that way we can kind of keep track of stuff. But I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I do too. I think it'd be a great addition to our group because some people don't like bourbon straight. Some people like to mix it and stuff. So it'd be good to hear what you have as your ideas as well.
I mean, especially coming up now that it's getting warmer and I don't necessarily want to drink all of my high proof stuff straight anymore.
Yep.
That'd be something nice to go to.
I think maybe a like a bar recommendation, maybe too. If like, hey, so and so's got this great cocktail. Maybe just be kind of nice because I think everybody's in different areas of town. So not like pumping bars that people own or work at, but I think just kind of neat things.
Yeah. Well, the black old fashioned at bar time is incredible. Oh my gosh. That might be my second favorite cocktail I've ever had. Because it's got black walnut.
Too.
You can't say what the second is and not the first.
Well, it was when we lived in Chattanooga. So there was a place in Chattanooga called Taco Mac. And it's just a local chain kind of taco Mexican food kind of place. Their margarita, hands down, is probably the best margarita I've ever had in my life. They don't use any kind of mixer. They squeeze the lime in the glass, put the sugar in the glass, the tequila in the glass, and they use a barrel aged tequila. It hands down so incredible. It doesn't taste that sweet, gross tequila margarita stuff. It is phenomenal. That's my favorite. Yeah.
Super simple as we were in.
See, for summer, I'm more of a gin drinker in the summer. When it gets really hot, I move to gin. If I'm drinking bourbon, I get really warm. So good bourbon cocktails that are maybe a little bit more refreshing would be a good thing for me. I don't know. I kind of switch over and switch back and forth a little bit. So if you guys have good summer bourbon cocktails, share them.
So my summer cocktail bourbon or my summer cocktail with bourbon is super simple. I've been a huge seller of it from like day one. As you do Old Granddad bottled and bond. If you want to spice it up even more, you can go to like 114, but you do half of that and you do an ale 8. Don't do the sugar-free. Don't do the flavored stuff. Load up like a double old-fashioned glass with like ice. Do half and half, and then when you get to the top, just add whatever bitters you like. I do cherry sometimes when I'm feeling frisky. I'll do chocolate, but it's super refreshing. If you don't like the the mixture of that, you can get rid of the ale 8 and just do like ginger ale, which is what most people will do anyways. But
Yeah, ginger ale is good for sure.
but we've also done what is that stuff called? American honey. Like you do the 375 of American honey into a large carafe for like lemonade, 2 frozen sugar-free pink lemonades, and then you top it off with water and ice, and you just shake it all up, and it is
Deceiving.
super dangerous, but it's definitely very comfortable for like hot weather and like
That is
It sounds so sweet.
Pink lemonade.
No, it's really not. You fill it up with ice and it's
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
for the pool.
So I said it wrong. So you're actually topping that carafe off with ice first, then you add water. So that way the mixture will like dilute as that ice melts even more. But
It's
I thought
like
the
a
same
honey
thing.
lemonade. It
Yeah.
doesn't, you don't even taste the bourbon. Then before you know it, you're like, oh, it's all gone.
Yep. You can add mint to it. You can do all kinds of different things to it to like, make it. But like I said, like our cocktail repertoire is very minimal, but we've learned over the past like year or so, like, you got to kind of be creative, like not creative, but you got to kind of find like what works for you, and that works for us by the pool. So
I can tell you, just
Ice.
experiment and have fun. I mean, I've made more crap cocktails in this house than I can even count. But when I find something that I like, I write it down.
Yeah.
Because it's so much fun then to roll them out and share them. When you find a home run, like a couple months ago, I made an old fashioned with Wee Beastie Ardbeg. It was incredible. I don't know if any of you are Scotch drinkers, but Wee Beastie is the most peatiest Scotch you can try to drink. It is young, and you get that peat forward smokiness, and it's got a bite to it, and it hits you right in the face when you're drinking it straight up. But when you put it with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of like orange slice with it, oh, it is out of this world fantastic.
Not into the Islay at all. No.
I love mojitos.
So one of the things that we've been drinking lately, it's not entirely bourbon, but Starlight has a really good blackberry whiskey. Mix it with a little bit of lemonade, put it over ice, and you're good to go.
Blackberry whiskey, I've never heard of it.
If you go down to Party Source, it's about $20. It's only in the 80 proof range, so it's a nice, easy drinker when it's warm out.
Yeah.
Mix it with some.
Whiskey.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see your puppy in the back. He looks like he has a
that's
big old
Aries.
head. Is he a Great Dane?
Oh,
Yes, he's about 180 pounds of fun.
oh.
That's a big dog.
That's a big dog.
Wow. Wow.
But you
Good to
really
see
have a
that.
little. His head's almost as wide as my chest, and I'm not a small guy.
It's like a small horse.
One of the ones we like in the summer is just simple Makers and ginger ale.
Yeah.
Canada Dry.
Yep,
It's
mules.
with ice. It's refreshing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Simple.
Some
Everybody
drink is
keeps saying
bourbon
it.
over ice.
Corey.
That works too.
I was gonna say an 80 or 90 proof bourbon is what I drink in the summer. So
Yeah. I cut down on the proof in the summertime and I have it over ice. Maybe that's about it. It's
got
full
like a
side.
Larceny or Weller Green Label. That's my go-to.
All I have to say is if it's in a glass, it's good.
I'm sorry, Corey, what did you say?
I said, if it's in a glass, it's good.
Cheers to that. And by the way, Amy, this I cannot stand ginger beer. I don't like ginger shit. I don't like ginger drinks. But this is very damn good. I didn't realize chai tea was so licoricey forward, or almost is what it smelled like to me.
Yeah. So the spices in this chai tea are
That's probably the anise.
black tea, cinnamon, ginger root, clove, allspice, natural cinnamon, and cardamom. There's no licorice in it.
I actually have a bottle of twisted chai vodka that is just amazing. You mix it
Now
with
this-
a little bit of cream. So good.
You gave us Wild Turkey 101 for this, right?
Yeah.
I think a rye in this would be fantastic.
Rob and I tried it with rye and it was
Too
amazing.
spicy.
No,
I
it was
figured probably
incredible.
pretty good.
No,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was actually incredible. We used Wild Turkey 101 rye. It was so
Interesting.
good.
Nice.
So good. Yeah. So some people don't like rye. I didn't want to gamble on what people liked when I was making these drink kits, and I kept it simple. I used the KISS method with this drink kit simply because it was our first go around with it. I didn't want to overwhelm people with it. Tell me what you liked about the kit and what you didn't like about the kit.
I thought it was perfect. It was
Simplicity
fun.
was fantastic. That was the simple portions of it, right? It was easy.
It was
I think-
perfect. It was great.
The only thing I had is I had like somebody else did where my little plastic container that had the bitters in it, that broke. But I just poured it in still. You know, it happens, you know?
Yeah.
But
I'll have to keep that in mind next time.
I like that everything was in there. It was labeled, and I like to have the recipes printed off already. Like that made it just super easy. Because I feel like sometimes during the day, like I don't follow all the text and all that kind of stuff. So it was nice to be able to revert back and kind of do it on my own.
Awesome.
Yeah, like my dumbass was late, so I was like, "Oh yeah, what do I got to do here?" Oh yeah, I got to do this, I got to do that. Let me see here. What did she say for the bourbon smash? I missed all of that, so I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, let me go read this recipe." So it's definitely helpful. So
The bourbon smash is super simple. It is probably the most simple cocktail you can possibly make.
yes, you can make it with any fruit. The fruit and the whiskey really pair. That's one of those ones where you really try to say, okay, this whiskey already has this, or this is a minty whiskey, so I paired this with strawberry. Now I got strawberry mint. You know what I mean? Like, what things can I use in a smash to offset some of those flavors and stuff? You know, so
yeah,
smashes are always fun and simple.
They are simple.
I'm with Troy though. I don't like you got to figure out a way to muddle them and strain them, right? That's the hardest part is. I think if you make a big batch of them where you're making a big bunch and then you can strain that concoction, it'd be much better. That's the only downfall. Oranges are good because they don't get too mushy, right? They don't get too broke apart, you know, whereas like a strawberry, cherry, blueberry, any of that stuff, it just becomes a bunch of stuff floating in a glass. You know, it's just like a mojito. You know, people can over smash the mint and stuff, get the, you know, too chunky, if you will, for a drink. You know,
I don't like chunky drinks. Chunky drinks are gross. So,
no,
hey, Jeremiah,
exactly.
did I see you just pour your second old fashioned?
Who, me?
Jeremiah.
Sure did.
Oh, I'm like, me? No.
I'm about to taste it right now.
Okay, that was Wild Turkey rye, rare breed rye.
It's gone.
That one is still a little bit warm because you just put it over ice, but it really brings the apricot out even more than the last one. Apparently the rye likes the apricot.
Good to know. Good to know. You know, I did not get any apricot because I used Maker's.
There's a couple things here.
Yeah.
Say, on my second glass, I added the apricots to the glass, and it doesn't taste any different. It doesn't.
I don't recommend eating
It's
them.
3 miles. Yeah.
Yeah, I would not recommend eating the apricots after they've been soaking in whiskey because it'll make you gag.
Yeah, I was able to choke it down, but I wasn't happy about it a second ago.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't recommend.
I'm not even gonna say what I'm thinking.
You got to eat the cherries, though. The cherries are good. You got to eat the cherries.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, another good place to get dried fruit is Trader Joe's.
Yes.
I love Trader Joe's.
The first time I made these jars, I used Trader Joe's dried orange slices, but they have sugar all over them. So if you get those, scale back on your sugar because otherwise you're just floating around in a sugar drink.
Yeah.
And you're really gonna be
so I'd love to try blood oranges in it. I think that would be really good.
Yeah, blood orange in the smash would be incredible because they have a different flavor. And these are Cara oranges. I'm not sure if I told you guys what kind of oranges I gave you. Cara oranges are much more juicy. They have a much more strong flavor to them. they hold up well in cocktails. They're not like a navel orange that's just gonna maybe have some flavor to it and a whole lot of rind and not have a whole lot of flavor to them. A Cara are incredible.
Yeah, but
That's what
dark-
I use for cocktails.
I like.
Yeah, they're dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what did you think of this experience?
I'd do it again.
I'd do it again. I mean, it's like I'm wore out from doing all that work today. I've been, like I said, but it's good to sit down and have a drink and then talk about whiskey and the drinks and the experiences with all the folks. So
Thank you very much for all the work you did.
Oh,
Yeah, I
goodness.
think,
Yeah, thank you, Amy. This is a lot of fun. I would definitely do it again.
yeah, it would be
Awesome.
great to do. It would be great to be able to do this like in person.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like instead of,
Second that.
you know, if the expectation that we had set prior to this being that, you know, that we were expecting like 24, 30 people or whatever. But if we knew that every single time we were going to be doing, you know, 15 people or 16 people, this would definitely be a much cooler experience to be able to do it in person, because then we could do like, you know, like a charcuterie and, you know, like a little bit of like kind of guided through everything, and yeah, good snacks, maybe like, you know what I mean, and like a more private potluck kind of feel while it's guided with like a couple cocktails. But yeah, man, I'm still super surprised by the bourbon smash. That's just me. It is really good. So
That was really good. I almost like that better than the old fashioned.
yeah,
I might have to try it again without all the ginger beer, but yeah.
Yeah. You know, for me, when I make an old fashioned, I like rye better. And I purely tried makers and I hate it. Like I can't even, I'll probably serve it to my father-in-law tomorrow, but I can't drink it on my own. It's just not my jam. But rye is better for an old fashioned because it stands up. It has good legs. But for the smash, you want like wild turkey or like an old granddad or something like that, because you don't want an expensive whiskey. And these, like I said, these kits are pretty cheap to make. It was $14 for all of you to have 5 cocktails. That's pretty cheap. If you went into a restaurant, you'd be spending probably $50 or $60, $70 plus on 5 cocktails. So pretty cheap. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed our time together and enjoyed learning a little bit about cocktails or whatever. We'll try to make this happen again, maybe in a different way, maybe in person. That'd be kind of cool. And thanks for hanging in with me. We had originally scheduled this earlier in the year and I hurt my back and spent 9 weeks limping around and hunched over and feeling awful. So thanks for hanging in and making this a possibility for all of us. I really do appreciate that. So yeah, this was really cool. And I appreciate you guys signing up. And we donated $225 to Dayton Honor Flight, which is really cool. I think that's one of my favorite charities in this area. But yeah, so thanks for making this happen for me as well. This was kind of an idea that I threw out to the admin group and we weren't sure how it was going to land. So it was all cool. Troy, do you have anything you want to say to wrap this up tonight?
I'll just add, I had a blast, and this was definitely a cool experience, and we will most definitely be doing this again in the future. Thank you everybody for participating. Other than, you know, typical group announcements, you know, like we're expecting Old Scout on Monday. I have nothing else, but Amy, you did a great job. I appreciate your work tonight.
Yeah,
Guys, if you're ever able to be at Dayton International Airport when the honor flights come in, it is an amazing experience. My son was in Young Marines for like 5 years and he greeted most of the honor flights that came in. And it is almost overwhelming in emotion to see these guys come back from spending a day in DC and visiting the memorials and stuff. It just hits you right deep in your heart. And it's just absolutely amazing.
You are absolutely right. So one of my very, very good friends is a Vietnam vet, and he took honor flight It was way before COVID, but I knew he was going. So my husband and I showed up as he was coming back. And it was just incredible because he's like, this wasn't the reception that we had when we came home. So it was awesome to have that for him as a veteran. So yeah, I'm really glad we could do this for that group.
Yeah, absolutely. They need that welcome home that they missed.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely agreed. And for all of you who are veterans, thank you for everything. You guys are amazing and so appreciated. And yeah, so anyway, thanks so much for hanging with me tonight. This was our first trial run. Hopefully I didn't blunder too much and make it kind of crazy and wild and like, what in the world is this crazy woman doing? But I appreciate you all hanging with me, and hopefully next time we have a good experience as well.
Great job, Amy.
Thanks, Amy.
Oh,
You can't go wrong
you're
with
You
welcome.
did great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, have a great night, everybody.
Good night.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Good night.
Cheers.
Thanks.